We're going to hear a word from our sponsor on today, which is Emanuel Church of God in Christ.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel Cogic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel Cogic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we are from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
All right. Make sure you follow my sponsor and join them every Sunday morning at 10:15. And next is our trending topics. Here are your trending topics for today. The inauguration of Joe Biden as the 46th President of the United States will take place on Wednesday, January the 20th, 2021. This will mark the commencement of the 4-year term of Joe Biden as president and Kamala Harris as vice president. The inauguration ceremony will take place on the west front of the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C., and will be the 59th presidential inauguration. President-elect Joe Biden has unveiled his $1.9 trillion coronavirus plan to end the crisis of deep human suffering by speeding up the vaccines and pumping out financial help to those struggling with the pandemic's prolonged economic fallout. Biden's proposed $1,400 checks for most Americans, which on top of the $600 provided in the most recent coronavirus bill, would bring the total to $2,000 the Biden has called for. It would also extend the temporary boost in unemployment benefits and the postponement of evictions and foreclosures through September. Next Wednesday, Biden is sworn in as president of the United States, and it also marks the anniversary of the first confirmed coronavirus case in the United States. According to the World Health Organization, globally, there are 93 million coronavirus cases. Out of that, 2 million were confirmed dead. Also trending, today is the official birthday for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Born on January the 15th, 1929, he was an American Baptist minister and activist who became the most visible spokesperson for the civil rights movement, leading in 1955 until his assassination in 1968. King is best known for advancing the civil rights movement through his nonviolent and civil disobedience, inspired by his Christian belief and Gandhi. Today, we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Those are your trending topics for today. All right, we're going to move on to our quote today, which is, your life does not get better by chance, but by change. And I'm excited about my guest on today. I haven't seen her since last year, which is Doc Michelle. Thanks, Mylia. I appreciate that. If you guys are tuning in, we are live on Intellectual Radio. Do me a favor, like, share the show, invite someone else in on the show so that they can get this valuable information, especially at the beginning of the year, on how to make your resolutions healthy and make them so that you will be able to keep them. So while I'm waiting on Doc Michelle to come in, I want you guys to make sure that you, if you have any questions for Doc Michelle, that you put them in the comments so that she can go ahead and answer them for you. And let me see if I can go ahead and bring her on. Hello, Doc Michelle.
Hello, how are you, Lady Rochelle?
I am good. This is my healthy solutions expert. She has over 20 years experience as a family physician, and she is impacting lives every single day. So happy New Year, Dr. Michelle.
Happy New Year to you. Hopefully it's getting off to a great start for you.
Yes, it actually is. I'm excited about what's to come. And I'm also excited about this topic, healthy New Year's resolutions that you can actually keep. And we all want to be able to be successful when we make those New Year resolutions.
Yes, yes. And I think people think about, the new year, new start, all the things they thought they were going to do in 2020, which we all had lots of things and plans, right? So come 2021, the new year, we want to sort of get started on the right foot, and we make a lot of plans and resolutions to do that. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't keep them. Actually, we know that about less than 10% of people actually keep their resolutions through the entire year.
Wow, that's a low number. 10%?
10%. And actually 80% have sort of fallen off by the start of February.
No, we have to do better. We have to do so much better. So hopefully the information that you guys get today will allow you to be successful and make realistic resolutions that you can keep.
Yes, yes.
So, Doc Michelle, what are some of the resolutions, healthy resolutions that we can put in place that we can actually keep?
Well, every year, the most popular resolutions are people want to lose weight, they want to eat healthier, they want to exercise more, right? Those are kind of the top three for different reasons, be it health reasons or what that people make. But because those resolutions are they're kind of broad, right? One of the reasons people fail at their resolutions is because, for one thing, they may make it too broad of a resolution, like I'm going to eat healthier, right? What does that really mean? Or they make it a resolution that they are more likely to fail at it, right? For example, if you want to move more and you haven't really done a lot, and now you've got a gym membership and you say, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week and I'm going to lose, 20 pounds, it can be a daunting task. And then because you may not be seeing the results that you hope for, then you get discouraged and you fall off. And so one of the things to help people to be successful at their resolutions is to make it specific, make it a small task, make it something that you think you can be successful at. For example, if you say eat healthier, right? What does that mean? People may say, well, I'm going to give up red meat, right? And that may be difficult to do cold turkey. Some people can do it. If you think that you've got that mindset and you're ready to do it, go cold turkey. But it may be better and more specific to say, let me look at how often I eat red meat every week. And instead of eating it 5 days a week, 5 times a week, I'm going to go to twice a week. Right. So you can specifically set, okay, I'm going to do that twice a week because I know that's something that I can do. And maybe in 3 months, I then go to once a week so that you make it more small and quantifiable. Same thing with, if you want to go on a plant-based diet, right? It's hard to say I'm giving up all meat, or I'm going to just eat salads and fruits and nuts all the time. Make it small and quantifiable. When I talk to people about making that change about I'm going to eat healthier, I ask them specifically, what does that mean for you? What does that look like, right? It might be for some people that if they drink a lot of sweets, maybe they want to give up pop. Maybe they want to eat a healthier breakfast, right? Maybe they want to give up meat. But one of the things, again, with eating healthier, I encourage you to make it a small, specific goal. And kind of like when people make the goal of quitting smoking, sometimes you fall off, right? You had that, you ate meat 3 times a week instead of twice, or you went back to your old habits. Forgive yourself, get back on that horse and go back at it, right? So that we can sort of increase that 8 to 10% of people who follow through till the end of the year to a better statistic.
I'm the type of person, Doc Michelle, that I have to do it cold turkey. Like if I don't do it cold turkey, then I probably won't follow through. So when I decided that I wasn't going to eat meat anymore, I just did it cold turkey. I just stopped eating meat. And, it just works for me. It works better versus me trying to wean myself off of it. Cold turkey for me, just going in there and say, hey, just getting rid of everything. And I mean, it's a shock to my body because it's like, the protein that I was getting from that animal fat, now I have to find ways to get it as a vegan and to make sure that, my body is still, getting what it needs. But I find that for me, cold turkey is best.
Yeah. And that's good that you realize that it for the most part, it probably is best for most things like that. Sometimes for, when we talk about quitting smoking, we have lots of ways that people can do that. Either they cut back or they go cold turkey. And some patients will tell me right off, doc, I'm better if I just cut it out, right? As opposed to going with a little bit at a time. But that's one of the things that we want people to think about when they make these resolutions every year. And it's really a resolution is kind of a promise to yourself of this is what I'm going to do, right? That you're able to follow through on it and think about who am I and will I really do that, right? So the eating healthy part, great, but again, make it specific. I'll talk to patients about, let's just work on your breakfast. Let's just work on changing, bacon and eggs and pancakes every day to something healthier, right? Maybe you can't change every meal to something right off the bat because it's hard to go through that withdrawal for patients. So we might start small. Something like caffeine, I usually say maybe don't quit that cold turkey if you drink a lot because you will get that caffeine withdrawal headache, right? And I've had patients tell me they go through like 2 to 3 2 liters of pop in a week. I mean, more than, yes. And if it's a dark soda with caffeine, you really don't want to do that cold turkey or expect what's going to happen, those headaches, which you can treat, with Tylenol or something. And even when people say they're going to eat less sugar, because a lot of that soda has sugar, when your body is used to a certain level of caffeine and sugar, and then you go down to that lower level, in that first week or two, you don't feel great, right? Like when you went without meat, it's hard to get to that new level set. So having support, having people that can remind you why you're doing this great thing in your life helps.
Yes, I'm not sure what Carlton's comment is about. A do right. I don't even.
I'm not sure what. He's going to have to rewrite that in a way that I can understand.
What
Okay.
is he talking about? Aretha Franklin singing, "If you're a do right hard day's woman, then you'll be a do right hard day's man." I'm not sure what that means, Carlton. Can you put it in plain English as it relates to this subject? But I'm not even sure what it meant. But we are talking about, making healthy New Year's resolutions that we can actually keep. And when you mentioned a part about sugar, I tried to do a sugar fast for 30 days. And let me tell you, I felt the withdrawals, just giving up that sugar, not being able to, I guess, get that fixed because my body was so used to it. So I started, it was hard for me. So I started doing fruit instead. Because the fruit still was sweet, but it was just a different type of sugar. But I still was getting the sugar. I felt it was more healthier, doing it that way. So yeah, it was kind of strange because I really didn't know the effect that sugar had on the body like that to make me feel like I felt like I was, craving for something. Like I was really craving it. My body was really missing it. So and that I know is not hard to do.
Yes, it's very hard to do because there's sugar in so many things that you don't think about. I try not to eat or drink a lot of sugar. Like pop, I really rarely have. And when I have some, it just tastes like just sweet syrup. And you're right. When you have had so much level of sugar in your body, it's even harder to get off sugar than it is caffeine. Because it causes so much dependency that we don't really think about. And when you try to get off of that, you can feel sluggish, tired, fatigued, irritable. I mean, so many things. And so sometimes I will say, maybe do something like that in a gradual way as your body can get adjusted to it.
Yeah, I wish that I had a known before, like not to just like, because I said I'm gonna do a 30-day, no sugar. But it's like, okay, my body was so used to it. It was like, okay, how am I gonna do this for 30 days? So I said, okay, let me just do the fruit, because I'm still getting the sweet, but to me, I felt like, it was the lesser two evils by doing the fruit.
Yeah, and you're getting some natural sugars. Excuse me. I mean, excuse me. It's still sucrose, but it's fructose, but you're still getting some sugar from it, but it's not artificial sweeteners. It's not. I mean, the amount of sugar in just a 12-ounce can, of Coca-Cola or something is so much that your body, even from that, can now have inflammation and other things that we don't think about and see. So that's probably another resolution that people are thinking about, decreasing their sugar intake, along with, kind of goes into eating healthier, but making that specific goal does help. The other thing people, always talk about is exercise, right? January is when people hit the gyms. Well, we're still in our pandemic, but when gym memberships increase a lot. And that can be hard because a lot of people aren't able to maintain the goals that they set for themselves if they set something that's not quite realistic. So know what your level of fitness is and what you want to do. If you're very motivated and you have good support, and maybe you have a trainer that's keeping you accountable and on track, great. You're able to even push yourself further. But if not, and that, I just have been so sedentary and I really want to move more, set some simple things. Like, say, now that we're all working, from home for the most part, maybe you get up to walk 5 minutes every hour. Maybe you say to yourself, over your lunch break, you'll walk around your block for 30 minutes if possible, or walk in your home, or if you have any exercise equipment. Because we've gotten so sedentary over 2020, most people have gotten, some extra pounds over the 2020 year because of just working from home as so much more. So set some realistic goals even with that. We know that working out and exercising 10 minutes 3 times a day is just as effective as if you get 30 minutes all at once. So someone who's at a lower fitness level can start with something like that, 10 minutes before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, and you still get great benefit.
Setting those realistic goals really is going to help us in the long run. You mentioned the sedentary lifestyle. So I sit at a desk, at work. So what I started doing, like sometimes the women will go walking. We'll do like a 15-minute walk. We'll eat at our desk, we'll walk just to make sure we get the exercise in. I also started like just getting up periodically doing squats. In my office, because squats not only work on your butt, it also works on other areas of your body. So I just started doing that, and you would be amazed like how many squats you can get done in a day. And I do them in sets of 10. So you could do 3 sets of 10 just to get up, to get the body moving, because before you know it, you can look up, you've been sitting there from 9 to 12, it's lunchtime, and you've been sitting there that whole time without even moving your body. You're moving your fingers, to type.
Right.
But that's it. So I think any little bit that you can control, that you can do on your own, take advantage of it and just do it. And it becomes a habit. And now a year from now, you've been doing squats. Your body is going to show the difference, in your work.
Yeah, and a sedentary lifestyle, in addition to increasing the risk of obesity, it also increases your risk of high blood pressure, right? So then you get all the things that come from high blood pressure, like strokes and heart disease and all of that. And so we've talked many, many times, ReShell, and we always go back to eating healthy and exercise is really the cure for what ails us, right? From the physical to the mental as well. And so, like you said, we get stuck at our desks all day. So little things make a world of difference. We don't always have to be jumping around for 30 minutes to an hour, to get the benefit of it, right? As we get older, building muscle mass helps. So if you've got 3 pounds, 5 pound weights that you can just sit at your desk and do some, exercises with your weights, you're building muscle. And Malia here says, yes, using YouTube workout videos, right? Everything that we have at our fingertips are great. You can pull those up for free, and you can do those over your lunch hour, after work, before bedtime as well. So I think as long as we remember that we have the resources, even though we're kind of quote stuck at home, although things hopefully are getting better soon. There's so much that you can do even at home, from using videos, using apps, just getting up and walking as the weather gets better, walk around the block. If you have a pet, go walk your dog. I mean, little things add up to giving our heart a workout, giving our bodies a workout, allow us to build muscle, which helps all these other medical conditions that, we treat and want to stop treating as often. So the cure is really movement.
Get moving. If you are just tuning in, we are live on Intellectual Radio, and I'm talking to Dr. Michelle, my healthy solution expert, and we're talking about healthy New Year's resolutions that you can keep. And Leah mentioned the workout videos. So I do 2 workout videos that I do from YouTube. One is 15 minutes, one is 12 minutes, and one of them is working on just building muscle, and the other one is working on my butt. So, I'm moving. So I'm getting moving. So, just little things that you can do. It doesn't take a lot of time for me to do it. I carve out my time. I even went to 5 and Below and brought me an 8-pound ball that I can use. Good. So when I do my squats, I use the ball to, just to help, they have the bands that you can use for resistance.
Bands.
And it doesn't cost you a lot.
That's right.
Everything is right there at our fingertips. We just have to, make sure that we are putting it to use. And Tracy said it's just what she needed to hear.
Awesome.
And this is a great time to start. Now, I don't know about Rizal put up there. Can he just have his steak to offset his Diet Coke?
No. No. If you're trying to give up red meat, no, right? Steak has a lot of protein. There are lean steaks that have less fat and all of that, in moderation, because we know high consumption of red meat can even increase your risk of certain cancers like colon cancer. So be aware of that as well, right? You're adding red meat and you want your Diet Coke. No, because now you're talking Diet Coke with the artificial sweeteners, which already have their own risks.
Well, Dr. Michelle, what about those little packets that we use to put in our water? Like, are those good?
Yeah, I mean, all of those, it depends on what type of sugar it has in it. If it has stevia, right, that's more of a natural sugar. You don't want it to necessarily have those like aspartame things in it. So you've got to look and see what is the sweetener that they're using. Good point.
What about how important is self-care right now?
Oh, very important, right? That's one of the things that some people make resolutions about too, right? Because what we found out in 2020 is that it's very important to take care of our health and take care of ourselves and decreasing our stress by taking care of ourselves, right? And in 2020, we had a lot of people who may have lost jobs or who were now caregivers, who healthcare workers, like myself, stressed out. So very important to take time in your busy week for yourself. That could be, think about something that you would just do for enjoyment, right? For me, going for that walk, getting out in nature. We even know that when you're out in nature, when you're on that trail, that it helps to lower your stress level and lower your blood pressure. People who are out in nature more often are in general healthier. They feel better. The stress level is less. So self-care is very important. Think about, do you want to start yoga? Do you want to start meditating? Do you want to take a bath once a week? Whatever that is for yourself that you can do for just enjoyment, that you've always said, I want to be able to do this thing, do it for yourself, because we tend to put ourselves last, especially for us women and mothers and workers. We do everything else and don't take care of ourselves.
That is so true. I designated Saturday in my household as self-care Saturday. So all of the girls know that this is a day to where we basically pamper ourselves. So I tend to, when I take my shower, I tend to take a longer time in the shower to where I'm just paying attention to every area of my body, scrubbing, just making sure that, that the skin looks healthy and everything is good. And so when I wash my hair, because I wash my hair every day, but when I wash it on Saturday, I let it condition at least 30 minutes, while I walk around the house and do something else, and taking care of your feet, your nails, clipping them, just, the little things that, you don't have time to do every day. On that self-care day, we just take time to do those things. Even reading a book, something,
Yes.
even just making that a day to where you incorporate something healthy, into your diet or whatever, or I don't want to say diet, but,
Right.
incorporate it into your lifestyle,
Yes.
to make it a lifestyle. But, so if you have to carve out one day to do that, to take care of yourself to where you're not taking phone calls, you really, even if you wanted to go somewhere, but it's all about you. It's about
Yes.
you and catering to your needs and not everybody else. Because if you're so busy giving out, but you're not replenishing yourself, then you're not
Yeah.
going to be any good for anybody.
Yeah, and sometimes being taking care of yourself is just like being still and doing nothing, right? And sometimes we feel so guilty about that. That we tend to feel guilty if we're just sitting, doing nothing, meditating, reading, sleeping, right? We didn't even talk about sleep, but we always talk about that and how important sleep is. When you're not getting restful sleep, it increases the stress hormones, increases your blood pressure, you're at increased risk of obesity. So for a lot of people, they make that resolution, right? I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to sleep more. But we've talked about it before on the show that if you know you're someone that you've been getting 4 hours of sleep every night, it will take some work to get to 7 to 8 hours, right? So if you usually go to bed at 1 a.m., you want to maybe push that to 12 a.m., right? And do that for a couple of weeks and then push it to 11 p.m. because the circadian rhythm for you is not it's out of balance, and so trying to go from 1 a.m. to 10 p.m. is not going to work unless you do it kind of gradually.
I would say sleep, Doc Michelle, is just one of the things that I'm not even going to say that I can't master. It's just that I don't make it a priority like I probably should.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, normally when I get into bed, and I think you mentioned this before, normally when I get into bed, it takes me probably seconds to fall asleep. Like I'm not one of those people who get into bed and I'm just wondering, my thoughts are wandering. Like by the time I hit that pillow, I'm out. I could be listening, and I listen to like meditation music, or sometimes I listen to my scriptures, but I don't even get through the whole thing, like, because I'm
Yes.
out of there. I'm just, and I
Yeah.
know that that's one thing that I really have to make a conscious effort to say, okay, hey, you know, it's detrimental to my health, first of all, not getting that sleep, because your body is healing while you're sleeping. It's doing so many things to repair your body while you're sleeping. And if you're not giving it that proper rest, then you're missing out on what, the full aspect of what sleep is about. It's about rest, and the body
Right.
needs to
And
do that.
rejuvenation, right? Rest and
Yeah.
rejuvenation happens when you're asleep. And you're probably sleep deprived because you fall asleep so quickly. Most people, it might take them 5 minutes to sort of get into that deep REM sleep. But if you wake up in the morning and you still feel pretty tired and sluggish, or if you sit still for 5 minutes and you can fall asleep, you're probably not getting restful REM sleep, in which case you need to either talk to your physician about how to rectify that, make sure you don't have sleep apnea and other things that could cause that. But absolutely, sleep is very important. Using, like you said, meditation, music, white noise like the waves or the rain can really help. As Malia says, yes, can really help you to fall asleep and hopefully stay asleep as well, right? Decreasing your caffeine intake close to bedtime, no caffeine at least an hour before bedtime. Mild exercise can help with sleep. Nothing too rigorous, within those couple of hours of bedtime, but mild exercise like going for a walk, walking your dog, or going for a walk for 20 minutes can actually help you to get better sleep as well.
So I normally do my exercises, a couple hours before I go to sleep. And that may be why normally when I get into bed, I'm just out of there. So my Leah said she needs to work on her sleep schedule too. And she recommends sleep music or
and sleep
that help her. And Rizal had a question about, are there any foods or something, not just exercise, that help with the flow of blood?
To help with blood flow and circulation? Well, again, plant-based diet is best because it decreases inflammation in the blood vessels, inflammation in your muscles, all of that. So specifically, the foods and the fruits and vegetables that have the most color are the best for anti-inflammation and antioxidant, such as blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, carrots. I mean, those type of things. The color of those fruits and vegetables is what contains these antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. So I always tell patients, just in general, make your plate a colorful plate. If your plate is colorful, it's probably got the right things on it, the right fruits, vegetables, anti-inflammatory fruits and vegetables and produce on it.
What happened, Dr. Michelle, when we rely on food of convenience?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, food of convenience, you don't know what's in it, right? You can read the ingredients, but you don't know all that is in it, the fats, the sugars, the salt and sodium as well. We know that when we cook for ourselves, that we tend to eat healthier in general, right? Convenience foods, they're convenient, but they're not necessarily healthy. But as part of the healthier eating resolution, I like the idea of saying, if however many times you cook right now for your family and yourself, increase that by 1 or 2 meals per week, so that you're eating more home cooked meals at home, and then making sure that we're using the right ingredients and the right things when we do cook at home. So we're using, low fat butters if you're baking, and with butter, for example, the more liquid or soft the butter, the healthier it is for you. So the butter that you find in the squeeze bottle is the healthiest. It has no trans. It takes out all the bad saturated fats. When you think about lard, right? You think about lard and you think about those hard butters. Those are the ones that are least healthy and should be really removed from the diet if at all possible, even when you're baking. But yes, so making sure that we're using the right ingredients as well when we're cooking from home. But we know that when you cook from home, chances are you're eating healthier, you know what's in your foods, and you can make the choice of what you're eating. So it takes planning, right? If I'm out and about and I know that I am going to be hungry at a certain time and I'm running errands and so forth, I might take a snack of my own with me. I might put an apple in my purse, or I might take, a protein bar or something, as opposed to I'm out and about and I have nothing and I'm starving. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop at the fast food place, right? So eating healthier takes some planning. think about where you will be when you know you get hungry. I know I get hungry around 3 o'clock, right? After my, lunch or whatever, I can start snacking. So I have to make sure that I have healthy choices so that I don't reach for the wrong thing.
Yeah, being vegan, I've learned to take snacks with me, especially when I go places, because a lot of times when I go, they don't have choices for me. Especially if I'm going to someone's house and they're having a party and they say, "Oh, we have pasta," and I'm like, "It's meat in the pasta. Like I'm not gonna sit there and pick it out. It was cooked with meat."
Right.
So I tend to either eat before I go, or I
Right.
bring something I can snack on. So,
Yes.
or I won't be really offensive to them, or they're people, they'll apologize, but sometimes I would tell them ahead of time, like, I don't eat meat, just so they can prepare an option for people who don't.
Sure.
But yeah, taking your snacks with you is really a lifesaver.
Yes, and you mentioned also eating before you go to a party. If I know I'm going out, or I may be going out to eat, and when you go out to a restaurant, and hopefully we'll be able to get there again soon, they give you a lot of food. So I actually sometimes will get in the habit of having a protein shake before I go out so that I'm kind of full, right? I've had the protein I need, because we need protein to build muscle and all of that. And then I'm less likely to overeat when I go out, right? Or if you want to stay on your track of what you have planned for yourself, you may want to eat your healthy vegan meal before you go, or chicken or whatever that is for you, so that when you go out you're not tempted to overeat the bad stuff as well.
That's true.
Good point.
How important is it to go grocery shopping regularly?
Very important, right? Again, when we don't do that, then we tend to reach for the convenient choice, which might be fast food. So again, and that's another thing that goes into, I'm going to eat healthier, but maybe we need to start with, I'm going to go to the store and get these healthy options and plan to cook a different recipe once a week, right? So again, starting with something that is specific, that you think you can get done, as opposed to just, I'm going to eat healthier. And you want to be realistic about when you go to the grocery store. You don't want to buy a lot of things that you actually may not get around to actually using, and then it spoils, and then we lose track, and then we get off track because we get disappointed, right? That we bought all these things that may go bad. For example, when I talk to parents about their children eating healthy, and I say, have healthy fruits and things available, sometimes they can push back, because if that isn't eaten, then it goes bad. And unfortunately, at the grocery store, we know that a lot of the healthier things cost more, right? So there's a choice that we're asking parents and adults to make, with, let's get you to purchase these healthier things for your family, but they may cost more, right? That's a different discussion about how we have make that equitable so people can afford healthier food options. But when you purchase those things at your store, at your grocery store, I always talk about making the healthier choice the easy choice. If you have fruits, don't bury them in the bottom of that fridge where you never see it, right? Put them out on the counter. Maybe you have to put that bowl back in the fridge at night, but put it out where you can actually see it, where your kids can see it. So they'll reach for that apple, that banana, or whatever you've bought, because it's visual to them. Same thing with water. If you have a pitcher of water, fill it up with ice, put it on the counter so the kids and everybody sees it. And so that's what they reach for, before they have to open the fridge, pull it out, right? Little things we don't think about, but it makes a difference. So when you're thinking about these changes to be healthier in the new year, try to make the healthy choice the easier choice for yourself, like putting those things out on the counter, like having your resistance band, or doing your squats, in between your meetings, or whatever that might be, so that it's realistic, easy to incorporate into your daily life, and so that you can maintain it for life.
Awesome. I was thinking about when you were talking, I was thinking about my daughter found this recipe to where it tells you to freeze the different fruits that you like. And then, you make it into like a little smoothie. And it's something,
Yes.
this is my daughter,
Yes.
type 1 diabetic. It's something easy for her to do, but it's also healthier for her. I know she's getting her servings of fruit, and she's not, getting those pre-packaged, carbs,
Right.
that she has
Right.
to, use medicine to help break down. So just little things that we can do to incorporate something different into, our everyday lifestyle will make a world of a difference.
That's right. That's right. We have to think of it as a lifestyle change and not a diet. But this is something that we will do for our whole lifestyle. Wanda has a questions. Are the
She,
meatless meat options actually healthier? I had someone tell me once that someone can eat too much soy and it can cause breast cancer. Is there any truth to that? Okay, so the first the first question: are the meatless meat options actually healthier? Depends what's in it, right? So again, yes, they can be healthier, especially if you're trying not to eat meat, but you want to look at the label. Turn the package over and look at the label. How much sodium is in it, right? A lot of frozen dinners and meats, like the meatless options, can have a lot of sodium. They can have over 1 gram of sodium. So especially if you have high blood pressure, you want to be aware of what you're putting in. So turn the package over and read what's exactly in it. If it's soy, that in moderation is okay. The issue with soy is in some people who have certain genetic predisposition to breast cancer, excess soy can I don't want to say wake up, but can trigger some of that breast cancer gene excess. But you have to look at what is your risk for that, and then make sure you're getting your mammogram and everything else, and discuss that with your provider. But the meatless options are good options, but you want to read what they have in it. Rice, is it grains, is it soy, and most things should have, if it's a meatless healthy option, it's going to have maybe about 5 ingredients in it. If it's a whole lot of things, it may have a lot of preservatives and other things that you don't necessarily want in your diet.
especially the stuff that you can't even pronounce. You're like, what is
If you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't eat
this?
it. And yes, and it shouldn't have too many, ingredients. Healthy options usually have 5 ingredients, about this many things, as opposed to the whole side of the box has ingredients. That's never good.
Wow. What about alcohol? Like some people they have to have their wine, their one drink. Like what about alcohol?
Right. So alcohol in moderation is okay. So if we have people, for women, we think that 1 glass of wine, like 4 to 5 ounces of wine, is probably okay. I hate to always say, I hate to promote alcohol use, but if you know that you, first of all, have a problem with excess alcohol use, please get help, get support, because we know excess alcohol use not only increases your risk of cancer, but liver disease as well. Now, we also know that excess alcohol is two things. It's sugar. So it will elevate your sugar. I have diabetic patients that if they also drink alcohol, those sugars will be high. They'll be 200s and 300s, right? So that's something to be aware of, as well as it can increase your risk of cancer as well. Stomach cancers, usually the GI cancers, the esophagus, the stomach, the intestinal cancers are at increased risk with excess alcohol use. So we want to be aware of that. Alcohol is also excess empty calories, right? If you know that you're drinking alcohol every day, you want to cut back on that, right? Because of all the other things that I just mentioned.
Healthy New Year's resolutions you can actually keep. Talking to Dr. Michelle here on Intellectual Radio. Dr. Michelle, what about like screen time? Because like right now, a lot of us are at home. We're not really out and about. What about that screen time that we're on our phones, we're on our computers, on TV?
Right. So we know that screen time increased for adults and children in 2020, right? Because we couldn't go anywhere. But of course, when we're on our screens, we're probably not moving. We're being more sedentary. So for some, that might be a resolution that they're looking at, right? They know that they spend a lot of time on that couch, watching the boob tube, the TV. So you may want to make specific goals for that. We're already sitting during the day, and then we sit when we come home at night. So again, making that goal to go for that 30-minute walk after dinner, getting up and moving, picking up a hobby that you can do from home, right? Maybe it's reading, maybe it's, for some people, knitting, or pick up something that you've always wanted to do that gets you a little bit more active so that we can decrease that screen time. And again, looking at the screen all day also is an eye strain issue, right? So we want to be aware of our vision, looking away from the screen, intermittently, as opposed to staring at it all day, and decreasing that eye strain from looking close up on a computer all day, which unfortunately a lot of us are doing now.
That's true. I have to cut off, or take electronics away just to, get some human time with my daughters, because otherwise they will they'll sit on the phones or the computers. They'll sit on them all day. So if you don't like carve out that time, you won't get it. Dr. Phil, let's talk about, I want to talk really quick about some of the myths that come along with making the New Year's resolution.
Mm-hmm.
One of them says, you know exactly what you want to change.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It says, the reality says, we should be focused on the reason why we're trying to change it instead of focusing on the actual thing that we're trying to change.
Right. Yes. Because the reason for the change is really what gets us through those lulls and those difficult times, right? I want to lose weight because my joints hurt, or because I have a family history of diabetes, or whatever that is. And I want to, live a long life and be healthy for my grandchildren. So we have to think back to why is it that we decided to do this thing? So that gets us through those difficult times.
Awesome. And the second myth says big goals are better than little ones.
Definitely a myth, right? We talked about that, because we could just say, oh, I want to exercise. I'm going to join a gym and I'm going to exercise 5 times a week for an hour, right? We're bound to fail. Small, specific things. Think about what it is that you really want to accomplish, right? You might say, yes, I want to be healthier. That's the large goal. Then what will that take to be healthier, right? Part of that is movement. Part of that is eating better. And what can I change if I want to eat better, right? Is it that I just want to cut back on soda? Is it that I want to change my breakfast? Start with something concrete and specific, and you're more likely to be successful.
Myth number 3 says it's easier to make small changes.
It is easier to make smaller changes, right, than larger goals, right? And once all the little changes that we make will add up to success in the end. I agree with that.
Okay. Number 4 says starting January 1st, you are a whole new person.
Right. Forget who we were in 2020. No, we are the same person trying to be better and change, our lives for the better, right? And so we get to this new year and we're like, oh yes, I'm going to do this and everything is great. And then we get disappointed by February 1st, right? So we're the same person, but we have to acknowledge who we are. What can we do realistically, and set that goal and put it in your phone. These things that we keep with us all the time, set alarms. We didn't talk about that, right? Set an alarm to say, every hour at this time, I'm going to stand up and stretch. Over my lunch hour, I'm going for a walk for 30 minutes. So set those intentional goals and make an alarm so you remember, because it takes up to 6 months to create a habit and a lifestyle. So, and if we're saying 80% of people fail by February 1st, right, we're not doing something right. And maybe all those things we talked about can help.
Awesome. Number 5 says, you don't have to write down your New Year's resolutions. Just thinking about them actually counts.
No, definitely write it down and keep track. Keep track of it, because then you can go back to what it is and that reason, right? When you write it down and you put it in your phone or actual, on paper, write down not only what you want to do, but the reasons why you wanted to do it. So again, you can go back to that to keep you motivated and get a support system with you. When people talk about, I want to quit smoking, which is a big resolution we didn't talk about, I always ask them, well, who is your support? Who are you going to call when you feel like picking up that cigarette to remind you why you're doing this, right? Who are you going to call when you think you want to go out and, have steak? Who is the person that will keep you grounded? The supports that you have also help.
And it's important to have those support individuals, so that you can get to where you want to be.
Yes.
Dr. Michelle, give us some words of wisdom on how we can make healthy New Year's resolutions that we can actually keep.
Yes. So I want you to remember that making the small changes can keep you successful in the end. That yes, you're not a brand new person that from last year, but you certainly can make new changes that you can keep for your whole life to get onto the goals that you really want to. But start small, start specific, have a support system, and that will help you to be successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle. I appreciate your wisdom. And I think that the information that you gave will get everybody off to a great start at, just making healthy New Year's resolutions that are realistic, that we can actually keep and be successful at.
Yes, sounds great. Happy
Uh,
New Year to everybody.
yes. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll leave you with these words of wisdom. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Don't live it like it was yesterday. And if you don't get it right, try again tomorrow. It's your move. Make it count. Join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. We are always, excuse me, where we are. Yeah. Let me do this over. That's what you get when you're in real time, right?
Right.
Join me next Monday right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in with Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time. See you guys next Monday at 6.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.